Hello there, dear viewer. Something extremely tasty and tantalising has appeared on the 4K format. I am, of course, talking of American Pie. This is the brand new release from 88 Films here in the UK in this collector's box. I'm going to show you exactly what you get inside this set and what's on the disc, and importantly, talk about whether the 4K is worth buying or not. But before I get into all of that good stuff, I want to talk about American Pie and my relationship with this film, because me and this guy go way back. American Pie released in 1999, but I saw it a few years later on one of my friend's brother's DVDs, and I was about 12 years old, which is still way too young to be watching this kind of film, but that is a period in a young boy's life when he is about to go through puberty and become a teenager, when the content of this film becomes very appealing. This is a film all about sex and the obsession that these four young guys have about having sex for the first time. And the film is framed as a coming-of-age teenage comedy. There's lots of great interactions between the main characters and the parents, and the interactions between the boys and the girls, and it's quite cringeworthy at times, but I actually think the depiction of these young guys and their frustrations is quite honest. I think a lot of young guys go through this kind of thing. I know I certainly had a lot of these feelings towards sex and desire during that period of my life. And you know what? I don't think all of this is oversharing or too much information, because a lot of young guys go through this transitional period of being a teenager into a fully fledged adult, even though you don't really become an adult when you're 18. I barely feel like an adult now in my 30s. So given my history with this film and the particular nostalgia I have for it, it had me quite apprehensive to rewatch it on this brand new 4K release. I was worried that I was really going to hate it and think it's a bit crap, because I've watched so many films over the past 10 years and my approach towards films and cinema has become quite refined. You know, I like lots of different stuff, but I'm able to work out what I do like and what I don't like. So it brings me great pleasure to say that I had such a great time watching this film on this 4K disc. In fact, I sat down and watched it with my wife, who had never seen this film, because, I mean, why would she? It's not really the kind of film she would have ever even thought to have watched. And she found it very funny and she liked all of the different characters in the film. So it was a great experience, and I'm very glad to say that I still think this is an excellent film. What I like the most about this film is its spirit and its approach to the subject matter, because it could have very easily come across as cynical or predatory, disgusting. I mean, it is disgusting, but in a very comical way. And this is a film that I genuinely think wouldn't get made today. Not because it's too provocative, not because it goes too far. I actually think because of the attitudes towards sex in cinema today, and particularly in the age of streaming, everything is a lot more serious. People don't really have fun around the topic of sex in films and television. Of course, if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find one or two examples to disprove what I've just said. But in general, this kind of teen comedy, this coming of age sex comedy, does not exist. And American Pie was obviously one of the key films in that type of film, which was very popular. So to try and wrap up my ramblings here, I am very pleased that this film exists, and it's a hugely important part in my own film journey. And look, I know people out there who may have no history with this film, they watch it as an adult, might hate it, and they might be comparing it to Citizen Kane or whatever. Cinema can be basically anything, and films serve different purposes, and one's own relationship to a film over the course of their own life will vary from person to person. So if you watch this video and you think, oh, I hate American Pie, well, don't worry, I'm not trying to convince you that you're going to love the film. But for me, I absolutely do love this film, and with that said, let's get on to actually talking a bit about this release. So on the 4K disc prepared by 88 Films, you get the film presented with Dolby Vision HDR grade, and you get two different versions of the film. You get the theatrical version and the unrated version. Now between these two versions, there are only really minor differences here and there. The film isn't restructured, or it isn't some crazy director's cut or anything like that. However, personally, I think the unrated version is the better version because there are particular scenes, such as the infamous pie scene, that is made all the more funnier in the content that is in the unrated version. But whichever of these versions that you watch, the film looks excellent. 88 Films have put a great deal of work into this release. I think it's been a long time coming, and I think there were delays and stuff like that, but it is well worth the wait. I hadn't seen the film in the longest time, so seeing it on this 4K disc really was like seeing it anew. The detail there is so crisp and clear. There is the presence of film grain in the image, so it looks beautiful and it actually looks like a film from the time. The HDR grade does help with all of the colours in the film because it is quite a colourful film. Although when it comes to the contrast, the film is quite dark, and I think it's always had a certain dark appearance. I think that's actually down to how the film was lit by the cinematographer, and in one of the bonus features on the disc, he actually goes into how they shot this film and the different lighting requirements for certain scenes. The scene at the start of the film where they're at the party, you know, they shot that in the daytime, so they had to black out all the windows and make it look like night. And he goes into the certain lighting aesthetics that they wanted for this film. So I'm trying to say it's not a super bright picture, but I think that is totally how it's intended to look. And I think it looks excellent. Similarly, I had no problems with the audio, and I'm no audio expert, so take what I say about audio with a pinch of salt, but I didn't notice anything wrong with the audio at all. And of course, you get a whole host of special features here on the discs. The features aren't on the 4K disc from what I remember, they're on the Blu-ray. So you have to pop in the Blu-ray if you want to watch the special features. There's a great audio commentary. There is the interview with the cinematographer, Richard Crudo, which I mentioned before. And there's a great interview with David Lawrence, the composer of the film, as well as the outtakes and the deleted scenes. So there's so much stuff to get into on the disc after you've watched it. So let's just finish by looking at the actual case and the packaging. So it has this slip cover here, which I've been flailing around. This is the rigid hard box that the film comes in. So it's a very nice box indeed. So I guess you could keep this on your shelf without the slip cover if you wanted to display this, or if you want to have this, then you've got two different options. Inside the hard case, you get a few things. You get one art card, which is a bit random, but I dare you to hang this up on your wall. There is also this booklet. However, this booklet has no writings in. It is purely photographs taken on the set, so a sort of behind the scenes thing. Personally, I would have loved to have had some kind of writings in here, some essays talking about the film and perhaps analysing it from a modern perspective, and also just looking at the people involved. So I do think it's a shame that we don't get that, but at least we have plenty of stuff on the disc to go into in terms of special features. Then lastly, you have the standard case like this with all of the information on the back, and inside you have the 4K disc and the Blu-ray. So that, my friends, is American Pie on 4K, courtesy of 88 Films, and I think they have done a fantastic job. This is actually my first 4K disc that I've ever watched from 88 Films. I've got tons of their Blu-rays, but I just haven't been able to pick up any of their 4Ks yet. So hopefully I'll be able to go back and get some of their other 4K discs, because I've heard that they are very good indeed. If you would like to add this to your own collection, I'll include some purchasing links in the description of this video, which if you use, it helps support this channel at no additional cost to you. So I would greatly appreciate that if you are going to buy this. If you'd like to stick around on the channel, get some more recommendations and reviews from me, then just click the video that's presented on screen right now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.